A world-class Rashford brace sinks Newcastle United at home. Erling Haaland coming up chance, breaking the fastest to 50 record in the Champions League by a country mile. Phil Foden getting back to his very, very best tonight. We've got some tough conversations to come on the Football Terrace, on the Full Fan Highlight Show tonight in relation to City, Haaland, Foden, the doubters, the haters, the scaremongerers out there. Listen, people wrote Haaland off. The records he's breaking is unbelievable. Foden written off last season, coming back trumps tonight. Of course, we're going to have a big focus on Newcastle versus Barcelona as well. I thought a very entertaining game. Both teams well in it. I do think Eddie Howe made some mistakes. Why no striker? The amount of times you needed a striker in that first half. Eddie, what were you doing? You were overthinking it. You had it was a bit of a Pochettino night tonight. Galaxy braining, doing a little bit too much. Marcus Rashford with two worldies for the man. And a lot of United fans are having a pop at him. I'm not. I want him to do well, so at least then we get them. Well, if Barca don't want him, somebody else will. If you're a Man United fan, you want him to do badly. You're not thinking about your football club. You're being a bitter swine, or you were someone that said he was rubbish, and you can't handle the fact that he's proving you wrong at Barcelona. But do me a favor, please, people, and hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Get yourselves subscribing. Make sure you have the bell notification button turned on as well. Very important to the Football Terrace that you have that turned on. Just that bell notification button. Get it turned on, people. Very, very important indeed. Very important. Very, very important to get that done. Let me just turn on the comments as well so they come through to me so I can see where y'all are watching from around the world. So I've just got to add something as well to my stream. I keep forgetting to add to... 1 second, peeps. One second. I think this is the one I need. Oh, no. Maybe it's that one. I don't know. I'll do it another time. Let me know where you're watching from. Pedri is not normal. Yeah, Pedri was amazing. And I am going to start tonight with Newcastle versus Barcelona. That was the game that I was mainly focused on, and part of that was the red card in the Napoli game. And I will just say, I mean, it's not Napoli's fault, it's not City's fault. It kind of killed the contest. I thought it was a really intriguing opening 20 minutes until that red card. But look, I think Newcastle United can actually hold their heads up a little high tonight with have some pride in that performance. You know, I saw somebody say this week, it might have been Rory Jennings about Man United, and I think he said Man United don't lose valiantly. And there's a lot of truth in that. I disagree. It's every game. There are some games we lose where we could have won it, and you go out on your shield, and there's a valiant effort. And I thought that was Newcastle tonight. They were dangerous in the first half. They were causing Barcelona all types of problems on the counter. They weren't affording them gilt-edged chances. I do think there was a bit of a mistake from Eddie Howe tonight, as I said in the intro. Voldemada on the bench, no recognised number 9. And actually, Elanga had the ball. He didn't really get the ball in goal-scoring opportunities for himself, but there were so many chances to cut that ball across, pull that ball back to a number 9, or get those crosses onto a target man's head. And he wasn't there because he was on the bench. Anthony Gordon was off doing whatever he was doing because he's kind of playing false 9. Barnes had a great chance to score and really should have put it across the goalkeeper and made it 1-0 to Newcastle. So I do think that in itself was a mistake, because I think the style of football, I think the way Newcastle played could have maintained itself with Barnes on the bench, Gordon out on the left, Elanga. Just go with something a little bit more conventional. And I think they could have got something out of the game. That being said, the quality of Barcelona just eventually shone through, and it almost wasn't too much that Newcastle United could even do about it. And I say that with the utmost respect to them. Barca are a team full of top-class players. Pedri tonight and De Jong on the ball in the second half. They were just holding on to possession so much better. And I think the overall possession was around 63-64% to Barca. I feel like in the second half, it was pushing towards that 70% mark, and they just controlled things a lot better. That being said, they were struggling to find openings and opportunities and chances. And that goes down to, again, Newcastle being well drilled, maintaining their territories very, very well. But then I think Schade just makes a little bit of a mistake on Rashford. It wasn't really good movement from Marcus Rashford, to be fair. The defender kind of steps 2 or 3 yards away from him. There's a wonderful cross that comes in from Jules Koundé. And Rashford just gets his head on the ball. And it was a bullet header. It was a very, very good header from him. But if the defender's close, Rashford probably isn't going to score that goal. So the first real defensive mistake from Newcastle cost them. Very good goal from Rashford. And then Marcus Rashford, it does make me smile because he had a torrid last 2 years at United. We should have probably moved on from him sooner. We should have got that done. But it doesn't mean I don't respect the man. It doesn't mean I don't want to see him do well, especially in the situation he's in on a loan with an option to buy. Oh, I'd like Barca to buy him, but if they don't and he has a good season, there's a potential United could negotiate a bigger transfer fee potentially. So I want him to do well because that's only good for us. And I thought that Rashford was very good overall tonight. I didn't like the commentators throughout the course of the game, kept on saying that Trippier was getting the better of him and ignoring one of the best dummies and turns you'll see all season and absolutely stripped him. I mean, Trippier got run so ragged by Rashford, he went off injured. Trippier played well, but Rashford was winning those battles for me marginally each time. And then he scores one of the goals of the Champions League this season. It will be one of the goals of the Champions League. He was off balance. He had to cut across the ball. There was barely any movement. If you watch the ball move through the air, it maybe only rotates around about 1/4 of a degree, crossbar and in, which is, for me, when it comes to a long-range effort towards the top corner, making it clip that crossbar first is just perfection. And it took the game away from Newcastle. The crowd went quiet, which is an important thing to do at St. James's Park. Yes, there was a late consolation goal, very well-worked goal by Newcastle, I will say. And I know that it wasn't the number 9 that scored, but he did everything that Harvey Barnes couldn't in the first half. But overall, I do think Barcelona edged it. But I think Newcastle can take some pride from this performance. I think Newcastle can take a lot of positives. It may be a little sore right now because I know they were really up for it, but they'll come good again. I think they'll by the display they put in Newcastle, I think they've got a great opportunity of getting out of the league phase and into the knockout bits. Maybe it's the playoffs to begin with for them because it's going to be very hard to get into that top 8, but they showed a lot. What I did think about tonight, though, and this is on Eddie Howe, and I'm going back to an original point, and I have to. So many games this season, Villa, even the Liverpool game, although they scored 2 goals, the Leeds match tonight, every single time Newcastle this season have started with no number 9, they've not won the game. They've not put the balls into the back of the net. And I'm so glad I get to say this about another team and not my own, because when it's your own club, all the trolls want to steam in. And it may sound like a cliched Michael Owen comment to make, but I'm going to make it anyway. Scoring goals is really important in football. I don't know if you're aware. It might have escaped your brain, but playing well and not scoring goals. Now, I'm going to say this in a way that the adults will understand. It's like being on the edge. It's like being on the edge. Okay, and I'm looking backstage to see if Kane or Hamza or Kel know what I mean by being on the edge, right? I don't think Hamza knows. I don't think Hamza knows. I love you, brother, but I don't know. He might do. I'm just making that up. It's like being on the edge. It's like almost you're sort of enjoying everything, but you're not getting that ultimate euphoria, right? And I think that that's Newcastle at the moment for me. And I think the opening 3 or 4 games of the season, you couldn't really blame Eddie Howe for that. But tonight, Valdemar should have started the game. I think it could have been a different outcome. But well done to Marcus Rashford. Absolute wonder strikes. Phenomenal from him. On the City game, I don't have a lot to say. And that isn't because City didn't deserve it. Absolutely did. Partly because of the red card. Not City's fault. Stonewall red card had to be given. No complaints from me. Why would there be? So you guys know that's not the way I operate. It's not the way I roll. It's not the way I behave. That isn't me in any capacity. So it was a hard game to watch after that. I really enjoyed the opening 20 minutes. You could see that one team was going to be pragmatic and counter. I was intrigued to see how it played out. KDB back at the Etihad. Scott McTominay there. Højlund there. It was just going to be intriguing to see how those players looked against a top Premier League team. Conte in the Champions League, loads of question marks over him. The red card ruined it as a spectacle. For City fans, you don't need to care. It's not a dig at you. Please don't lose your minds. Let's keep it on point. But it kind of ruined it in that regard. But, and I will say this, but, Erling Haaland is a freak of nature. Erling Haaland deserves every piece of credit, praise, applaud, accolade, award, knighthoods. I don't know what the version is in America. I don't know what the version is in Norway. Deserves it all. 50 Champions League goals in 49 Champions League games. He breaks the record, which was previously owned by Ruud van Nistelrooy by a country mile. I've said this for years, and I'll say it again and again and again. Erling Haaland, in my personal opinion, is the most naturally gifted goal scorer that Europe has ever produced. Ever. In my lifetime, the only player playing in Europe as good as him in terms of putting the ball into the back of the net this early in his career, from being 17, 18 when he started scoring until now, is R9. He's the only one for me from a goal scoring perspective that's done it. I've been talking about that for 3 or 4 years. I remember sitting here maybe in 01, having watched bits of him in Norway because of his links to my club, Man United, watching him make his Champions League debuts and was scoring when he went to Dortmund and was scoring. And I just saw him get doubted every single step of the way. Every single step of the way, this man has been doubted. He has been ridiculed. The disgraceful punditry that has led to my new series that comes out at least twice a week on the Football Terrace, which is killing the game. And it's talking about the bad punditry and the banter economy that's ruining football. And I'm going to keep pushing it. This man has been called a League One player, a League Two player. What does he offer to the team? He's overrated. He wouldn't score if he wasn't in Pep's team. All this nonsense that's been said about Erling Haaland. And as a Manchester United fan, I almost feel pissed off. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed that the mainstream media, the ex-players, pundits, and a big percentage of fans online have forced me into praising this man as regularly as I have. From the threats to my life that I receive, only from a handful of weirdos, by the way, it got that bad, for suggesting when City signed him that he would break Mo Salah's single season goal scoring record. I remember some of the disgraceful things I was sent just for making a simple prediction until now. This man is always written off. Last year, where he scored more goals in a singular season than 99.9% of all strikers who have played in England have ever scored, was written off as maybe his time has passed and he's had a couple of great seasons, but that's it. All this flash in the pan talk, the pundits, and I swear Rory Jennings did this, and I'm not putting him into the category with the amoebas, but I swear he kind of did some. It might have been said in jest, to be fair, around maybe I was right to doubt him. There was all this kind of stuff was rearing its head, and I just thought it was utterly shameless, ridiculous, annoying, and it just took away for me when sitting on panel shows, listening to content, listening to people talk football, which is a big part. And I've been speaking about this a lot recently. Talking football here in the UK, I can't speak for the rest of your nations, people watching, and you can tell me, and I would love to hear and be educated on it. Speaking about football, for me, is every bit as important as the game itself. It's part of our day-to-day lives, our culture. Most of us build our lives around when our football teams are playing, when we're taking our kids football, when we're watching football, traveling to games. It's such an important component of our lives. And I'm sure it's the same in Brazil. I'm sure it's the same in Nigeria. I'm sure it's the same in Spain. You know, I'm not saying in England's the only country that does this. I'm just telling you from my perspective. And I feel like the conversation around Haaland was always being ruined. What else did he do? What about his touches? What about this? What about that? What does it matter? And the goal tonight, I'm so glad Judge Mo's backstage, you fraud. The way this man spoke about Phil Foden last season, Phil Foden that had a brilliant 4 or 5 years, 4, 5, 6 years, beginning of his career, consistently performing, consistently scoring, consistently delivering in title races, Champions League runs, massive cup games. He had a terrible season. Phil Foden had a terrible season. Everybody could admit it. But I remember Judge Mo. I remember multiple people sitting there and saying, this bad season essentially undoes what came before. It writes it off. It shows that maybe it wasn't real. It was a little bit fugazi. Last season was like this defining moment. And I just felt that was a step too far. Phil Foden has been a top-class, world-class performer in his younger years. Unlike a lot of the other starlets in England, unlike a lot of the other talents that we kind of compared to him, Stackers, Rashfords, etc., who, by the way, I rate all of them, this man was delivering in title races, cup runs, Champions League on a regular basis, and delivering at that stage, on that stage, in those high-pressure moments. That, for me, is the real games that you judge. Like I've always said, Harry Kane in England, amazing goal scorer. But there's so many strikers, the Agueros, the Van Persies, the Drogbas, as examples, the Van Nistelrooys, Andy Coles, Rooneys, Cantonars, Henrys, that I put above him because I saw those guys do it. Title race, title race, title race, title race, cup run, final, cup run, massive Champions League campaigns, etc. Doing it in those moments is what it's all about. I'm going to go to a goalkeeper, Donnarumma, last season. All those saves in the knockout stages. It's great getting a save, making a save like that away to Burnley in the league when it doesn't really matter. But doing it in those gilt-edge moments, it's next level. It's what people remember forever. It's legacy defining. And Erling Haaland has done that. But Phil Foden, and Lee went back to Erling Haaland too early there. Phil Foden, he did have a bad year. He was rightfully called out for it. But I think the undoing of his career, I think the rewriting of history, I think the way he was treated, it felt wrong to me. And before anybody says it, I'll address it. It has nothing to do with the nation that he plays for. Because I go in on English players as well. I don't have those kind of biases because I was brought up properly. That's it. End of the conversation on that one. But for me, what it did, yes, it was fun. Some of the comments were funny. I'd laugh when people brought it up on shows. But the reason why I didn't want to go down that road is because you set a precedent to be used against your own players in future as well. Imagine you can have 4 brilliant years, 5 brilliant years. You have one stinker of a season and people try and write everything off that came before it. There's actually only 2 players in my memory that I remember not having a bad season in their career based on their age. And that was Messi and Ronaldo. They're the only 2 that I don't remember. As soon as they started getting good, I don't remember them having a bad year. Every other player has flopped up, done well, moved clubs, flopped, gone somewhere else, had brilliant season, bad season, then got good again. All of them. United legends like Ryan Giggs, fantastic for a decade. Then in the early 2000s, part of it was hamstrings, but he had a torrid time. He got booed at Old Trafford. People were talking about selling him. And then he went on to have the better part of another decade at the top. So what I wouldn't ever do is set a precedent to slag off Phil Foden that would damage the legacy of my own players. Why? Madness. So well done to Phil Foden. I bring him up because the assist for Erling Haaland's goal was absolutely out of this world. Out of this world. So massive congratulations to him. Massive congratulations to Erling Haaland for breaking that record today. 50 goals in 49 games. I can't actually believe someone's done that. I can't believe he's done it. And the age he's at, the club he's at, you wouldn't bet against him breaking Lewandowski's, breaking Messi's, breaking Ronaldo's record. If he can stay fit and get to 100, 150 games in the Champions League, who knows how many goals he's going to score? Who knows how many times he's going to win this competition as well? What he's done is given himself a foundation and a base to become the greatest Champions League player of all time. Could he take, because that belongs currently to Cristiano Ronaldo. There's been no greater player in Champions League history than Cristiano, based on winning it, performances, goals scored, the whole caboodle. No one is above him. Erling Haaland has given himself that base. That's exciting at 24 years of age. Something for us as football fans to watch and review and get into. I'm very, very excited about watching that indeed. Whether he does it or not is another conversation, but give me your thoughts, give me your opinions in the comment section below, people. Thank you very much indeed. Let's have a look at a few of your comments before I bring my panel out tonight. What you've been saying, gutted the risk. Joshua Jack here says, gutted the red card happened, was going to be a chess match between Pep and Conte. City were getting frustrated by how Napoli operated off the ball, and they were marking the spaces. Interesting if teams copy. Yeah, listen, I agree with you. From a spectacle, the game, I would have loved it. Absolutely loved it to have been 11v11. It would have been, I think it would have been amazing. City could have won. Napoli could have won. It was really shaping up to be a good game, but there was a lesson in there for the centre back and the captain of Napoli. Even if you don't make that tackle when Haaland scores, they could have still come back. Getting yourself sent off in that moment is ridiculous, because going down to 10 men was probably worse than going 1-0 down in all essence. Cunha and Mbumo will look at Rashi and wonder if they made the right choice. The manager and system is detrimental to the way our attackers play. Time will tell. See, again, look, this is just an oversimplification, because Rashford was struggling at Man United with the previous manager. So again, I'm all for the criticism of Man United Football Club. Go for it. But I got called extreme earlier because people say I look too far back. This is why I look further back. Because Rashford, yes, those players might be looking at that, but Rashford was playing poorly under the previous manager as well. So I can't put that all on Amorim. I can't. Hot take, Bruno posting Rashford goal undermines Amorim. Not for me. I don't think it's that deep, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. I'd actually prefer everyone at Man United to big it up, like we all should have been bigging up Anthony last year. Let's try and get the money. No, the other way around, in my opinion. Do you think Amorim would succeed? We've done that. That's from earlier on super chat. There we that's it, from earlier on stream. Go away, Rashford fanboys. Rashford fanboys can stay. End of the day, I will say this: like it is funny the amount of the players the eye test merchants hated that do well when they leave Man United. It's so funny. What's that say? No, Terry. What are you saying? What are you saying? I've lost the comment now. No, Terry. CR7 would pull his team over the line. Of the teams who doesn't work, Haaland drowns with the rest. I've seen Haaland pull City over the line. I don't know what we're doing here. And listen, Cristiano Ronaldo is one of my favorite players of all time, but I've seen a Haaland score. I've seen crosses overhit when City are playing badly. And this freak, and I say that in the nicest possible way, put his leg about 7.5 foot in the air and like get onto it and put it in the back of the net. He's done some great things. Different player to Cristiano Ronaldo, but there we go. Sescu says against 10 men. Yeah, playing against 10 men can be really, really difficult. And that doesn't make that pass any less. You know, that pass, though, when you're playing against 10 men, you realize when they're defending, there's typically less space than when you're playing against 11. So there we go. There we go. Right, time to bring the panel out now. Oh, Mo's there. Hello, Mo, you fraud. Right, to bring everybody out now to have their say on the show. If you haven't hit that like button yet, get it done, my peoples. Let me just move the scene over. We've got Kane here, Hamza, Mo. We've got Jesse. We've got the lovely Kel. What have I done? I have no idea what I've done, but start talking, Kane, and we'll come back. Start talking. I'll sort the rest of it out in a minute. Actually, I might leave it like that. It looks quite nice. Kane, over to you.
I'm much better anyway. All right, guys, how are we doing?
I'm gonna move Mo there though, because it's better.
Oh, I can't believe you do that to me. Fair enough. Do you want me to keep going?
Yes, mate. Yeah, to you first.
Yeah.
How did you feel about tonight's game, bro?
Listen, we gave a fucking good go of this. I think Barcelona is one of the teams a lot of people have tipped to win this thing. So to take it to win the way we did, I think even the most hardened of Barcelona fans would have seen up until 60 minutes, and up until that Marcus Rashford first goal, would have been a bit worried about the end result of this, because Newcastle were phenomenal. Sorry? So I'm getting some weird feedback from someone, but okay. Yeah, I think listen, the thing that separated these two teams tonight were little bits of brilliance. I mean, that second Marcus Rashford goal is undeniable. It was a thing of beauty. I can't deny it. You can't really defend it. I would say the Dan Burn clearance was poor that led to it, but all credit to Marcus Rashford for that one. When it comes to Eddie Howe and not starting in number 9, I think the comments coming into this was Voldemada had some cramp issues going into the game. Couple that with Vissa being out meant that I think he was playing it a bit safe, kind of playing the long game of this. But I think
could have brought Isak off the bench on a 2-1 down.
Yeah, we could have brought Isak off the bench.
We brought discount Isak off. We still someone on, and I was like,
he's too busy sitting on the bench somewhere. I don't know. He's been a fraud, been a rat, as I'm supposed to say. But no, listen, we gave a great account of ourselves. I'm still confident going in the rest of this Champions League. If we play like this, throughout the rest of this Champions League, we're good. But I mean, I'm just looking back at it now. What is
this? What are you doing?
I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it.
I'm
right?
the guy behind the curtain.
What's it doing? What have I done? Keep talking. I'm gonna fix it. I've broken it. Keep talking. Sorry.
I'm looking at the.
You need to do that for the Phil Foden segment.
I know. I'm looking at the replay of
for Judge Mo.
The Anthony Gordon miss. Oh my God! The Anthony Gordon experiment at centre forward, I think, is kind of dead for me. Him on the left wing is where he needs to be and where he needs to stay. I know he likes to think he's going to move into the middle, but just not for me. I can understand why Eddie did it, but he needs to stay on that left. I mean, Anthony Elanga tonight was amazing. He had Martins on the left wing. He had him on toast several times. It was unreal. And I think that goal, if we got that goal early on, I think we're talking about a very different game tonight. Proud of the lads. It just came down to those moments, really, and fair play to Marcus Rashford. Fantastic goals. Nothing really Nick Pope could do about either of them. But it was interesting that Marcus Rashford's first goal was the first shot on target that Barcelona had, and that was in 58 minutes. So we really took it to them, and yeah, I'm proud of the lads. I can't really say
bro, can I tell you something for you? Barcelona fucking whack, bro. You see, like, Newcastle should have been like 3-0 up in the first half, to be honest. Barcelona whack. Like, I'm not downplaying the win. Like, two individual brilliances. I'm just gonna tell you the reality. Let me just finish. Newcastle, to be honest, got behind the line like 5-6 times only in the first half. You had like 3-on-2 like 5 times. If Elanga picks the right cross, if Harvey Barnes puts in the back of the net, I think you win that game. Barcelona played the riskiest game I've seen in the history of the sport. That's even more risky than Ange Postecoglou. They really stay on the halfway line. I've never seen this, by the way. And Newcastle, to be honest, hats off to Eddie Howe. He exposed it brilliant in the first half. I promise you, if Voldemada was fit and he started that first half, Newcastle would have been 2-0 up instead of Anthony Gordon in the front, because there was no striker, because Anthony Elanga and Harvey Barnes got behind. If Barcelona fans are happy with this brand of football, it's fine. It's great. It will win you the Liga. And without Yamal today, Barcelona weren't dangerous. As my man Nick, his name is Nick, right?
Who, me?
Yeah. Kane.
Sorry, Kane. Like, in the first half, I thought Newcastle were like dangerous way more than Barcelona, to be honest. Every time Newcastle got the ball, they were very dangerous. Barcelona at the end won with a header and a brilliant shot by Marcus Rashford, individual brilliance. But I thought Newcastle actually were the better team on the pitch. And I know Barcelona fans are so sensitive about this and Hansi Flick and the high line and all the stuff. Bro, nobody does this, especially against a player like Elanga. It's basically a playground for him. And if anybody doesn't think that, bro, you're watching football with your fucking ass, to be honest with you. If you think that standing at halfway line, and the difference is standing at halfway line and allowing the oppositions to make run is just stupid. And the problem, it happened once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. At least catch them offside once, bro. At least catch them offside once. Like, but they didn't. Anyway, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, but I can see why Eddie did what he did. Like I said, I think Nick had some cramp issues at the end of the Wolves game, and I think when you only have one proper, I want to say a proper striker, because I recognize Will Asula, but like, we're talking about Champions League here, guys. I don't think Will Asula should be starting in a Champions League game. So I can see why he kept him on the bench, and obviously Anthony's suspended for, and I think one more game in the Premier League. So it makes sense to use him while you have him. He's not a centre forward for me. I think the way he approached that cutback, honestly, I'm telling you guys, if he scores that goal in the first half, I think we're talking about a very different game here. Because I mean, I want to give credit to Barcelona and the way they perform. I mean, Pedri and De Jong were just they were wonderful to watch, and how they pinged the ball around and got around the press. But credit to our defense. Even when they put those killer balls in through the middle, we were able to defend them. And it came down to a great cross from Koundé, a great header from Rashford. And then, I mean, that second goal, that's indefensible for me. That's, like Terry said, that's probably going to be one up there for goal of the tournament come the end of this. So to be losing 2-1 in that sort of fashion, I mean, I can stomach it. I don't like it, but I can stomach it from that point of view. But I mean, I think the rest of the Champions League's put on notice. I think a lot of people kind of wrote us off going into this, and I think a lot of people have been put on notice on that one.
I think one thing it showed me, Kane, I don't know about you, and I know you didn't win tonight, but I think it just shows how strong the Premier League is this week. I know that Chelsea lost, but they're up against the best German team, and the game could have been different if Enzo scores that goal. Yourselves with Barcelona, you guys are outsiders in terms of chances of winning it. But you could conceivably have all 6 Premier League teams in the knockout stages. I think the Premier League sides are just so strong, so quick. And you went up against one of the top 3 favourites. I think Bayern Munich in the top 5 favourites. And I do agree with you. I think with a number 9, I think you could beat a lot of teams this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think what this also does is a lot of people just wrote Newcastle off in general. They just thought, oh, well, Newcastle are in Champions League, therefore they're going to drop off. But you look at the games we've been in so far, we've been in amongst all of it. We took Liverpool, who are one of the favourites to win the Champions League and the Premier League. We took them again in 10 men, and they had to score in the 90 millionth minute with Rio, bless him, in the last minute to beat us. We've took Barcelona again now to the last minute. Again, one of the favourites to win the La Liga and the Champions League, and we took them to the death, and we took the game to them. And I think people need to stop sleeping on Newcastle. I think we're a great team, we're a great squad, and you saw that even with the substitutions. We brought 4 substitutions on there. I mean, I know Elanga was amazing. Jacob Murphy there with the assist, superb again. We brought in Malik Thiaw and Sven Botman. We brought on Malik Thiaw and Sven Botman as substitutes. Like, this is the depth of our squad in this season, and I think people need to stop sleeping on Newcastle. We were fantastic, and like I said, credit to Barcelona. This game was separated by 2 moments of brilliance, and that's it for me.
Kane, I think you make some great points there. Kel, what did you make of What did you make of the City game tonight? Maybe there's not much to speak about from a spectacle because of the red card, but you had 2 players out there tonight, Erling Haaland and Phil Foden, absolutely on fire.
Yeah, I'll say a short thing about Erling Haaland. Record-setting night tonight, fastest ever player to 50 Champions League goals. So anybody trying to compare my striker to somebody who has one Champions League goal in his entire career, get out of here. I'm not listening to it. We know Erling Haaland is the best striker on the planet, and he showed us again why tonight. But Phil Foden, man, that guy, dude, he's looking great. Mo, I hope you're here to eat some crow, because you were wrong about Foden, man. He's coming back. He's looked good 2 games in a row. He's been limited.
What is he coming back? Can you define what is he coming back to do?
He's coming back to lead the team. And he's come back in 2 games. And guess what? We won both games.
So okay, I get it. Foden is not a bad player. I never said that. I said he's not the guy to carry Man City. And I still stand by it.
Did tonight.
Who is he? Who else? No one else has been carrying the team in the last 2 games.
All right then.
Rodri's struggling with his fitness.
I got this. I got this skill. Hold on,
he's setting up Erling Haaland.
I'm gonna say it here. Guys. So they have the best striker in the world currently, and by far, as Kilk has said, they have Phil Foden to lead the team, right? One of the best players, PFA Player of the Year. They signed Rejiners. They said he's going to be signing of the year. They got Ballon d'Or Rodri. They got Ait Nouri, the best left back in the league. Hold on, let me finish the take. So I want people, if you're gonna talk your talk, right? You signed Donnarumma. You said Donnarumma is one of the best shot stoppers in the world, and you got the best manager in the history of the sports. Pull your neck out there then and say that you are favorites. But don't say I got this, I got that, I got them, and then you tell me
Terry,
I'm underdogs, but
Terry. I know.
Bitter that he got his Phil Foden take wrong.
Go ahead.
Terry
was wrong after 2 games.
Terry was looking for some football talk, some breakdown of the game, player review. And Mo, you had to take it there. You had to take it to the punditry that Terry's been talking about. Where's this game going to?
Not even a Liverpool fan. What do you going?
What does this have to do? What does this have to do with Liverpool?
At the mouth over nothing.
Did I mention Liverpool here?
You sound like a Liverpool fan.
Did I say the word Liverpool? Did I say the word Arsenal?
I'm a Liverpool fan right now.
Did I say the word Arsenal? You are so adamant to come here and say Mo is wrong about Phil Foden. Terry even did it in his monologue before. After 2 games,
I'm just calling out your agenda, mate.
Yet, when we try to judge other players for other teams after 2-3 games, they tell us, wait. So wait then.
So, but the difference with the Foden comment is this: Foden had 4 or 5 years prior to a bad season of credit in the bank, a bad season.
Now he's one of the guys.
So this is. Sorry, go on, Kel. Go on.
His bad season last season, when he was total garbage, according to everybody, he still had 20 G&A in a bad season in all comps. So it wasn't a total. It wasn't a total bag of shit.
I stand by it. Phil Foden is a good player. He isn't going to be the carrier of Man City like what people thought he will be.
He carried us tonight, and he carried against Man United.
If he does against Man United, fine.
I want to see him carry us on Sunday against Arsenal. The challenge is out there, Foden. It's up to you to accept.
Fair enough.
I more think Reinders might be the one to carry Manchester City.
He had a good game today. I'm going to give him some credit.
I don't think there's going to be any carrying from a new addition to Manchester City. If there's going to be a carry job that's going to happen this season, it's going to be players that have been here from past years. They know what's expected. They're going to set the standard, and they're going to carry it forward. I think we can't ignore the last 2 games in particular. Haaland and Foden showed up for that derby. Haaland and Foden showed up again today. And we're going to need them against this game versus Arsenal. But tonight, we have to acknowledge how well they played and how well they performed. That pass, the vision, this is what we want more of Foden. And when he's healthy, when he's taking that ball, when he's constantly, because I know, Terry, you're watching the Newcastle game, but when you watch the City game and you see Foden always calling for that ball to foot, he's on it, he's ready. And the confidence is there. It's just a matter of him being healthy that I think really cost him last year, and why all the rivals like Mo were ready to chirp and talk about Foden falling off. Now, this game, Kel's talked about it. Haaland, the fastest to 50. He's a goal-scoring prodigy. I want to talk to everybody on the panel, everybody in the chat. It is a wonder. It's an amazing thing to figure out what you're good at and what you're not good at. Unfortunately, that's something you don't learn until you're older. All right, I got platinums here. It's not something that many learn young. But Haaland has realized, listen, I'm not going to do all that other stuff that's asked of strikers. If if I'm effective doing this, I'm cool with it. I don't need to prove anything to anyone else. The hardest thing to do in football, and I this is not me, I didn't make this up. The hardest thing to do in football is to score goals. And no one scores at the rate of Haaland. He needs to be recognized for it. And if you want to say he's not pretty on the eye, if you want to say he's got the worst comp for a Ballon d'Or, go ahead. But this man lost that Ballon d'Or to a GOAT in Messi. He's effective.
You got robbed of the Ballon d'Or.
He did. That's a conversation for another time, of course. But Foden was amazing as well. And listen, the Doku third year is hit, guys. Okay, the Doku third year player has hit. Year one, we gave everybody a bly at City because this university is different. It's different level. It takes a while to learn Pep system. Year two, I would agree he should have shown more to us, but there's no denying. There's no denying the confidence that Pep is showing this player. There's also no denying the confidence that he has on that pitch. That goal, him coming centrally, give me more of that. Give me more of that. And I'm okay if you're going to be taking on your player that often and sometimes they don't come off, because there's also going to be times where it happens like that. Absolute brilliant goal. I hope he takes this forward. And the Donnarumma, because Mo wants to kind of do the whole agenda, wants to mention all of the players that we've acquired. Yes, we've acquired some players. Yes, we rate them as being some of the best or close to being the best. Are we then going to go so far as to say we're favorites? That would be silly of us. We finished third.
Why not? Why not?
Well, we finished third last season. We finished third last season. No. Let's not talk about your club.
They've tapped in the black magic. How do we?
No, I'm giving you an example, Victor. Don't do that. If my club signs the best, or I put my neck out there and say my club signs the best players, and I have the best manager, I need to put my chest out. To be honest, that is just logical to talk.
No, it is logical, but
the best.
Mo, it is logical. But when you also look out in the horizon and you see what your competitors are doing, acquiring world best talent as well, right? Transfer record breaking after winning the league. How are you going to go so far after the season that you had prior to say you're now favorites?
Yeah. That's the point. Do you know what? I missed that, but it kind of feeds into what you said about Foden and Mo and people saying how good he is and they should be favorites and have chest of winning. The name I would just throw in is Steven Gerrard. Gerrard carried his team. Gerrard was a world-class player. That didn't mean that Liverpool were the favourites of the Prem every year. Alan Shearer at Newcastle, world-class player, multiple carry jobs for Newcastle. Didn't mean they were the favourites every single year. This has been going on for time immemorial. I remember Darren Huckabee carrying Coventry City as an example. This has just gone on. Matt Letizia used to carry Southampton at times. Didn't mean they had to be the favourites to win the league. Liverpool are a better team than City right now, but none of that undoes how fantastic Phil Foden and how fantastic Haaland are. But where you're right, the element you're right is that not challenging for the league title, for what City have achieved, the manager they have and the quality of their squad, the money they spend, will be a massive disappointment if they can't do it. But not challenging for the league doesn't make Phil Foden's career none and void.
Right. No, his career is never not void. Like his career, he won Player of the Year. I don't think he deserves it that year. I don't think he was brilliant, as you said before. Like in the years before, he was just one of the guys. The thing about it is that probably I have the same energy for everyone. When I say the word none of the guys, he is one of the guys. And I said it before. He
was not one of the guys during the false nine era. He was the guy.
He was the guy. Anyway, if you guys, the problem is Man City fans talk about Jack Grealish as he won them the treble. Phil Foden is a good player, talented, as much as we can say Saka, but he isn't what people think he is. That is my point.
See, this is probably why I defend Phil Foden, because I feel like I'm doing this on behalf of City fans, but it isn't.
Yes,
it's actually more about it's more about my players, my older players, my legends. This is what happens when you have a team full of top class players. You might have someone who is top class stroke world class, but they may only be the 5th, 6th, 7th best player in their team. doesn't mean they're not better than everybody else's version or the majority of other players in the world in that position. Yeah. This happened at Man United all the time. We had players that were world class. We had players that were top class that you might not even have in our top 5, top 6, top 7 players. Real Madrid have had this at times. Your very best Inter Milan teams have certainly had this. Players that are right down the pecking order in terms of the poster boys of their team as well. That doesn't mean they're not top class players. All it is they're in a giant pond with other giant fish. And yeah. I think that sometimes it's easier if you're a top class talent, if you're in a team where everybody else is maybe not quite as good as you, because you stand out like a sore thumb in that environment, you know? So I get where you're coming from, but Foden's quality for me shouldn't be played down just because there was 5, 6, 7 players in the City side that were better than him. His quality still remained.
Yeah. And I think, and Terry, you'll relate to this, I think the scrutiny and the downplaying or the lack of love that United had has just shifted. It's just shifted from what was happening at Manchester United, and now it's Manchester City. So we've seen how your players were treated. We've been winning and being dominant for so many years. It's just the spillover. It's now been Manchester City, and that's how teams and pundits and obviously content creators want to talk about our players. So it is what it is.
I hear you on that. I'm going to do a few super chats here. Then I'm going to go to speak to Hamza and Jesse as well. This comment here says, most the praise for City wins is going to Haaland and Foden, rightfully so. But Doku, that's meant to be. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Arrived from the past 2 games, continues the Premier League, has got a problem. Yeah, fantastic tonight. I mean, his goal was out of this world. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I'll tell you what else I did notice tonight, though. I noticed it in both games. I had both Newcastle and the City game on. I nearly shed a tear, guys. And as a man, I'm not embarrassed to admit it. I was watching the game, and you know, they say that, you know, when you're suffering and when you're down in the dumps, talking about it as a man is important. And I was watching 4 men on the pitch, and they just filled me with such sorrow on one hand, but maybe hope on the other. And I cried. I was watching 4 goalkeepers that were really competent and good. And it really upset me. I had this moment. I was talking to my mate, right, throughout the game. That doesn't do content. We were talking. I was like, some of the saves and moments, I was like, wow, look how good that is. And then I realized I'm just hungry, man. That way, it wasn't Michelin star.
It was just basic saves, and you're like, wow.
It's a basic Wendy's burger, but I'm so hungry. It was like I was eating Wagyu, bruv. I was so hungry, but yeah, shout out. This here said, this says, Mo is such a good rage baser. Palmer got 35 GA in the Premier League, which made him the best 10 or younger player in 23-24, but Foden with 32 GA was just a player.
But I never said that about the season that he won player of the season. I said he was good, but I said the main reason I think City won the league is because Kevin De Bruyne came in the last 16 games. And also, Zayn, if you answer me this, and if you say yes or no, it's very simple, Zayn. You can send a super chat, or you can just send a normal chat. If Phil Foden was at Palmer's shoes, do you think Chelsea would have finished top 6? Or do you think he would have gotten 30-something GA? And do you think City still win the league if Palmer was at City that year? Probably yes. That is.
Well, you can't.
You know what I think Mo is trying to say? Mo is basically trying to say, yes, Phil Foden is good, but season out, he's not going to be that guy for Manchester City. He's not going to be the main talisman that you could say, all right, he is going to be on the team sheet no matter what. Season out. He's not that guy for Manchester City. That is what I
He's good, bro. It's good. He's good. He's a good football player, but he's not. As of now,
if the belief is that Mo,
I haven't seen him, to be honest with you guys. That season that you guys talk about, the season that you won the league, yes, he was good, but you were still losing games when he was scoring against the Brentford. You went on the run, and that is proven. That's a fact. You guys went on that massive run that defeated the Arsenal massive run at the end of the season when Kevin De Bruyne came back. That is a fact. You weren't doing these runs when Phil Foden was there. That's me praising your legend, Kevin De Bruyne. You're one of the best midfielders. That
Okay,
is
but
what you guys don't see. Kevin De Bruyne
we do see
is
it.
the catalyst.
No, we
of
do see
Manchester
that. We do see
City.
that the run continued on with KDB.
There was no run before that.
Oh, wait, you're talking. So our 15 games only happened with KDB returning to the club.
Do you remember the first half of the season when you were third behind Liverpool and Arsenal?
Yeah, I do. But the
then
point is, but
Arsenal
Mo,
went on the break
Haaland
and
missed
went
a
on
lot
the
of those games too.
Mo, the thing is,
No,
you want to
no,
dissect.
It wasn't
You want to
just
dissect
KDB.
the
Haaland
season.
was out too.
You want to dissect the season and say, you know what, KDB was this. If it was for the entire season, you can understand why City fans are saying it was Foden, because we look at how he performed throughout the entire season and what his consistency meant.
I gotta ask you a question.
That's why
Would
we
you
go
have
back.
won that? This is a simple question because I know that
It's not possible to answer that question, Mo.
You know what question I'm asking? It's a very simple question.
Yeah, it's not possible to answer it.
Would City guys have won the league if Kevin De Bruyne wasn't back at that season?
It's impossible to answer, Mo.
It's your opinion. I want to hear your opinion.
My opinion is.
Go ahead.
No. It's a question not for Terry. I'm sorry, Terry.
I think we would have.
Would you
it's
guys?
A nonsense question.
No, it's not a nonsense
It is.
question.
But it's a nonsense question in the Phil Foden debate.
Yeah.
And you could have done, but again, no one is denying that KDB was massively influential. He's probably, there is a debate amongst City fans that he's the greatest ever City player. But we're talking perspective here. If I can run 100 meters in 9.95 seconds, am I one of the fastest runners of all time?
Probably yes.
Out of the whole world, right? 9.8 seconds, 9.7 seconds, I am. But yeah, Usain Bolt might make me look slow. That doesn't mean I'm not fast. And I think that we're doing this thing all the time. Yes, KDB, I think it's clear of him, but that doesn't mean Foden isn't brilliant. And even when we say carry job, what do we mean by carry job? Because an attack-minded player isn't going to carry a game in the same way that Paul Scholes would dictate one. So I
can define it very simple. I can define it. Mohamed Salah last season a carry job for Liverpool. Without Mohamed Salah, Liverpool don't even touch the title.
Okay. So his goals do that.
Goals and assists.
But earlier on, okay, this is why it's important to have a conversation, because Jesse said Reinders could carry the game because Reinders controls the game more. So it depends on everyone's definition. So if some people think carrying a team is controlling the game, some people might think it's coming up with those, match-winning goals and killing games off as an example. I think it's important to have that conversation, because do I think Phil Foden could control a game like Paul Scholes? No. Do I think he's got the capability in his career to score lots of match winners? Yes, I've seen him do it. Maybe not to Mo Salah's level, but are we saying you can only be considered a match winner and a game changer if you score at the same rate as Mo Salah, who is scoring at a rate that's almost alien level? Like, again, we're setting maybe a few more super chats here. Oh, this is a dig at you, Mo. It says, Terry, why do you let people with Mo's ball knowledge on the show? It's a joke. He is laughing. If you don't watch other leagues, no need to comment. Barca played better than Liverpool at Newcastle. Clearly, Flick has adjusted.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, probably Liverpool didn't play well at Newcastle. That has nothing to do with it. But again, I'm just gonna say this, Eddie. Liverpool, the Premier League games are so different than the Champions League games. I believe that if Liverpool played Newcastle in the Champions League, it would be different than Liverpool playing Newcastle in the Premier League. I know that because my team played Milan in the league. It's different than playing them in the Champions League. It's different than playing Juventus. People know that. Anyway, that is the answer, you, Eddie.
I appreciate that. Only 4 draws in the entire match day 1 of the Champions League. 10 of the 36 teams scored at least 3 goals. Champions League is truly back. Love TFT from Bermuda. Big up yourself in Bermuda. I really want to go. I want to get lost in your triangle, not your personal triangle, the triangle. I want to point that out. Yes, right. But also, do you know what this new Champions League format proves? The Super League would have banged, wouldn't it? The Super League would have been out of this world. But no, I love the new format. You get so many big teams playing each other. This year it's even better because every point, every goal matters, because you want those top 2 spots so you're home for every second leg. Yeah, absolutely fantastic competition. This really, really is. We were linked to the Napoli goalkeeper too. Yes, we were linked to him, and he looked very, very competent tonight. Yes, he did. I just hope the guy we bought is good. Anyway, I'm not talking about Man United because it makes you want to cry. But we didn't lose this midweek, so I love it. To answer the questions, Mo, Foden may not have taken Chelsea to 6, but Foden got into the City star team when he was 20, which Palmer couldn't do. It's a fair point. It's a fair point in the argument. Hamza, we're going to go to Tune Tactics in a minute, but Hamza, what are you saying, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm back on holiday.
Good. You're looking nice and slim. How's the old Manjaro going?
I'm not using Monjaro like you, bro. I'm doing it natural.
Me? If you saw my
stomach, I can
stomach,
train you. At least I can train you. I can be a personal trainer, bro.
Train me.
I told you, I'm coming to Croydon. I'll train you around here.
Oh, okay, mate. We'll put on our spandex and get sweaty together. Let's do it.
The fuck?
Listen,
He didn't get it.
Holiday. Listen, Man City today, man. Phil Foden. You guys were talking about Phil Foden. Listen, he's a good player. There's no doubt about it. There's a reason why he's Player of the Year. Not many players get Player of the Year. That's a big achievement. We knew that last year he went through that little patch, and every great player goes through this little patch. This season, he has to perform. He knows it. He knows the pressure's on him, and he knows, and he's taking that. There's no bigger game than the derby, and he did it well. And today, Napoli are champions of Italy. Mo's laughing here. He shouldn't be laughing when they're the champions of his country who dunked on his Inter Milan team and took out the title last season. And they're now top of the league. They've not lost a game. They're 3 wins. And literally today, even when they had 11 men, City were comfortable. I think City could have won that easily. I think I'm quite pleased Doku's coming with the way he's playing because I'm a critical player. I'm starting becoming critical on players like Doku and Savio because I think that's what we lack. Problematic. It's so bad that the way that our wingers don't score goals, and Doku's showing it this season. And we have to give him credit. Last 2 games, Doku's been impressive. Foden, to me, people don't know about Foden. His statistic, he's got 30 GA. He's got 18 goals and 12 assists in the Champions League. Not many players have that. Paul Scholes has 24 goals in the Champions League. Steven Gerrard has 21 goals, 9 assists. That's 30 GA, as much as Foden already. Wow. And Foden hasn't even completed Champions League. So there's a lot. Lampard has 24 goals. Foden's already got like 18, 19 goals already. So
Professor Hamza, you're teaching you guys.
He gets criticized. The reason why he gets criticized, if you play with KDB, David Silva, and all these, they take the line. They've taken the light off you like completely because you can't perform better than those guys. So I feel sorry for Phil Foden. Look at Cole Palmer. When he doesn't score 1 goal from January to bloody July, he scored 1 goal. No one criticizes him. As soon as Foden or Saka has a little stinker, people are onto them because they're great players. There's no doubt about it. Today, Phil Foden showed that assist was world-class assist. Haaland, again, you said it well. When I heard you very well, Terry, you said, there's not many strikers. People talk about the link-up play bush. Bro, the job of a striker is to score goals. I don't care. This guy is a goal scorer. He's a goal machine. I don't care about you little flicks like Isaac, whatever it is. Give me that goal. Tapping. I love tapping merchant. And if you look at his goal score, I used to love Van Nistelrooy. Why? On the box. You remember about Basel, hat-tricks. He scores goals. And he reminds me, only players like I compare goal scorers is, you're right, R9, Van Basten, and probably that's it. And probably Van Nistelrooy. They're number 9. They just love scoring goals. And I think Haaland will break that goal scoring. If you look at the players that he's above already, he's 1 away from Henry. Where are those Henry lovers? 1 away from Thierry Henry, that big Champions League guy. He's 1 goal. Henry's sitting down on the floor. So
can I ask a question? Just as you've all heard me praise Haaland tonight, so you know this isn't about scoring points. Looking at all those names of players we all know are world-class and greats of the game, do you think if you're a top team now, do you think Champions League football has got easier when you consider the way midfielders and the younger generation coming in seem to be scoring a lot more, teams are scoring more, it's almost a lot heavier weighted? If you're one of the top 3 or 4 teams, City are, Liverpool are, Barca are this year, I don't remember a time growing up where you only realistically looked at 3, 4, maybe even 5 teams capable of winning the Champions League. It was always sort of very widespread. Everybody was a lot closer together. Do you think there's the possibility that Champions League football, as more entertaining as it is, do you think maybe it's got a little bit easier for the best sides?
I think you're right. That part, you're right, because that era we grew up, there were great players all around. You're right. It was harder to score goals against those opponents, but I think there's very few players I've said that can play in that era. Literally, and I think this Haaland definitely plays in that era. Definitely
I
walks
agree.
in that era. He walks. He's a goal scorer. He's the guy that they love. Imagine Beckham and Giggs. Remember Beckham with his crosses. Imagine him have Haaland as a striker. Ryan Giggs and all these Zinedine Zidane. He would score more goals. He's just a number 9, and this is why you don't get this kind of strikers like that.
Professor, can I say this?
I gotta go,
quick?
guys. Just gotta.
Cheers, Mo. Thanks, brother. Bye, Fraud.
Professor, I want to ask you this, because as Terry was asking that question, the funny thing is Haaland, he's 4 seasons at City, so that goal tally that he was accumulating wasn't at the clubs that were supposed to win the UCL, right? So he's been goal scoring for a while now, and it wasn't just because he had the benefit of City favorites for the UCL.
Yeah, no, I agree with Haaland. I think Haaland would have mixed it. I scored a lot of goal with whatever era he's in. The same as I don't think the top teams now are worse than the top teams of 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I just feel, and this is one of the reasons why I'm really angry at my own football club, by the way. I feel if you've got the money to spend, which all of us big boys in the Prem have, all of us.
We saw your revenue.
We've got so much more money than everyone else in Europe now. I just feel that with the strength that we can build into our squads, if we're well run, I just don't remember a point where I looked the last 4, 5, 6 years, barring maybe Real Madrid, and you've had like PSG last year pop their heads up. Barca have had a few little moments. It's just English teams that you look at are probably one of the English teams, but and Real Madrid. It just wasn't like that when I was in the 90s, the French teams, the German teams, the Dutch teams, the English teams could win it. It was the talent, I think, in Europe was spread so wide afield. And
yeah, that's fair.
And that's not, I'm taking nothing away from Haaland's record. I am just looking at that and thinking, how much harder is it for a really talented striker, say at Marseille, to score lots of goals now when his team probably every summer is going to get pillaged of its best players, where in the 80s and in the 90s, Marseille would have probably built upon that squad to make it slightly better. So I'm at this point, and maybe it's because I'm an old man, and this is taking nothing away from City or Liverpool in the modern day era. Liverpool fans will probably get it a bit more because they've got players from the old era as well that played here. I'm at this point where I feel like we've got to start separating things into eras, because the times have changed somewhat, if that makes sense. Yeah. But maybe that's just me, and by the way, I wish that United hadn't won anything in Europe and didn't have no players in it, because I'd still feel that way. And that isn't a dig. It's just the game feels just different now. Not in a bad way. I love football. I love covering it. But even in the Premier League, Premier League's probably a little different because so many clubs have money, because the Premier League has that money now. But when you think that the likes of Bournemouth actually have more disposable income now to spend on players than some of the greatest teams in European football history, like Ajax and Benfica, it's actually mad when you deep that. Bournemouth have more money than Ajax. But
Terry, do you think the Premier League is harder now compared to before? I think the West Ham, the Villa, then when they had Angola Ho and all these jokers like
but you're talking about Aston Villa. I get your point, right? And I think there is those moments, but I think the Premier League is sort of, I want to make sure I say this in the right way. It's the Premier League has maintained a certain level of competitiveness. I feel like maybe this year it's changing, where you've got 2 or 3 teams that maybe 4 that we could genuinely see win the Champions League from England. I go back to that 02-03 period to around 2013. And that's outside of my club's treble winning year, by the way, just to put this into context. I feel that was the strongest and hardest Premier League era from a top team perspective, because all 4 of those teams every year in the Champions League, no one laughed at you when you said Arsenal could win it, Chelsea could win it, Liverpool could win it, United. Nobody went, don't be stupid, because we knew how good we were. And Europe had deep levels of quality back then as well. So I think to win the league was really hard then because there was 2, 3, 4 top teams. Plus you had in that period, you had some good Everton teams, you had some good Newcastle teams, you had some good Villa teams, and I'm probably forgetting Spurs. No, I think in the early noughties, Everton had a couple. Everton got into the Champions League one year. I'm just throwing you in teams that challenge that. What I would say though is is where it's easier for the Premier League teams now. And this is a benefit that City, United included, but City and everyone else now are getting is what the Wengers and the Fergies and the Robsons, and I'm going to forget the names, the Jose's did, and other big names in that era, helping to make the Premier League as gigantic as it is why the TV deal money is so massive now. So what we all benefit from, and it's one of the reasons why Man United haven't gone out of business, by the way, is we now get so much more money than all but 3 or 4 other clubs in Europe, barring PSG, Bayern, Barca, and Real Madrid. The teams that get relegated from the Premier League earn more money from TV than teams that win Serie A, teams that win those other top leagues. So what we're now able to do is build squads that are powerful. It's only really this last summer where you saw loads of those mid-block in the table teams kind of get their squads ripped apart a little bit, barring Bournemouth that kept hold of them. Maybe that will happen a little bit more moving forward. So I think that the Premier League, it's still very hard to win the league. It's still very hard to win the Premier League. There's no doubt. There's great quality. There's great competition, similar to how it's always been. And now you've got 3 or 4 top teams that could win the league. But what the Premier League has done, I think it's pulled so far away from 95% of Europe. It's just, and ironically, there's 3 or 4 teams I mentioned with money. They're the only sides really, and you get like Inter have got some money and these teams. But if you actually look at who's been winning the Champions League in the last 4 or 5 years, getting to finals, etc., it's the rich teams. I think if you actually look in the last 25 years of football, I looked at this very loosely the other day. You look at all the winners, it's all the team that it's predominantly the team that sit inside the top 10 richest clubs in Europe that are winning the Champions League. And the Premier League is pulling slowly away from everybody, barring 2 or 3 other big ones. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if over the next 15 years, if you see a lot of finals and a lot of champions from England, because we can just do things now financially that 95% of the world can't do. Barca, Real Madrid are always going to be okay. Bayern will be okay. PSG will be okay. I can't see how the rest on a consistent basis over a decade or 2 compete with any of us on a financial level. And as long as you're well run, I think this could probably be one of the periods in time. And who knows what football looks like in 30 years' time. This is an opportunity. And so I was talking about Liverpool the other day. They've already got 6 of the bad boys. This is an opportunity. If you get the spending right, you could win multiple Champions Leagues over a decade and add some real great stuff. We could go through that period. One of our clubs could go through that. And it's possible any of our clubs could do this, by the way, where you just create a great team because we're so much stronger than the rest of Europe. Look at last year. Europa League, Conference League, Champions League. Crazy.
But I just want to say last thing. I think they generally the teams was it harder? It could be even argued because Italian teams you had 2 places for each countries to be in the Champions League. At one point, only 1 country in each country.
That's also true. That's also true. Well, it's one of the things.
It didn't allow the Italians was great.
This is why the eras have got to be looked at with goal scoring. So Erling Haaland theoretically could finish 4th every year and get the chance to score in the Champions League, where there were strikers from 20, 30, 40 years ago that had to win the league to get into it. So it's one of those things where you had to win the league to even be in it. So therefore, no one wins the league every single year. So therefore, you might be a brilliant player in a brilliant team that doesn't get in the Champions League for 3 seasons, and you're not getting those games. Toon Tactics is with us. What are you saying, bro?
All good, sir. Great to be invited on here as always. Yeah, pleasure to be here. All good.
Yeah, what did you make of your boys tonight?
Yeah, it was a real good performance. I thought it was a steep learning curve. I think we played a team in Barcelona that just are a better team in terms of quality and possession. But we had moments, particularly in the first half. If you look at, for instance, shots within the penalty box, we had kind of better quality shots, although you will see the XG is a bit higher for Barcelona because they had more quantity but lower quality of those shots as well. I think Gordon, for instance, had a massive chance where the ball went through his legs. In moments like that, that I thought if he took advantage of it, would have done a little bit better. Even the Barnes goal where the goalkeeper went down low and saved it, I thought, what if he passed it back across towards Gordon? I think, again, if it's a team, if Newcastle had been in the Champions League for 2, 3, 4 years running, those kind of moments are taken and we do a little bit better. But I think we've done well, even after being going 2-0 down, especially to still kind of hold on and to get a goal back and then kind of make a fist of it in the last 10 to 12 minutes. But again, Barcelona showed their class, I thought, in terms of even just the way they handled the last 10, 12 minutes in terms of like keeping us at arm's length, whether in possession, whether winning fouls as well, things like that.
Yeah, that last 7 minutes, when you guys got the equaliser, I thought, here we go. And you just saw that Champions League nous come in. They just held on to the ball. They did have a couple of shots, but they had opportunities, but no, we're going to keep the ball. And I think it is a learning curve. And it turns out Waldemar, as Kane said earlier, maybe had a bit of cramp. And if that's true, then you're probably right not to risk him, because losing tonight doesn't stop you from qualifying out of the league phase. And you have to, obviously with Vissa being out, you've got to manage him. But I just think this Newcastle team hasn't yet found its feet this season, because you've not been playing with a striker. And I think using a number 9 just changes everything. I thought you had the ball in some great positions tonight where Alanga's putting his head up and no one's making the right runs at a number, because they're just different runs that a number 9 makes. And yeah, I don't think Newcastle, it's a defeat, but I don't think you've got much to worry about personally. It's what I call a valiant defeat. And I know that we live in the manosphere world at the minute, where any kind of defeat it should be seen as the end of the world and whatnot. But I don't think any Newcastle fan should be disappointed you've lost, but I don't think it's baby out with the bathwater time personally.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think once the players sit down, I'm sure Hal will be looking over the match today. I would look at who will take bits from that game, and I think it's good for us to see. I was always thinking like I'm going to learn a lot here, like playing in such a superior side in terms of quality. Pedri, I've never seen anybody do that to our midfield before. I didn't think that was possible. I thought he was absolutely magnificent. De Jong, they didn't need. We didn't get to Lamine Yamal. I'd have loved to have seen him as well, but just really, really good stuff. But again, if we take, for instance, if we score the first goal and things of that nature, then the momentum shifts. So it's a learning curve. I think we'll only get better from it. I think, was it PSG? Did they lose their first game to Arsenal last year? 2-3-0? I can't remember what it was.
The first or second game, yeah, I think.
So, yeah, just got to learn from it. And I think, we will do. We can only get better.
Yeah, and look, I don't actually, and I've said it quite a lot so far this season, I don't think the results this season, because as you look at your results, they're not too dissimilar to Man United, a lot of defeats and draws. But I think you guys are going to come good. I think you guys are going to come good this season overall. Champions League wise, what's it? Away to Union Goujon next time. Man like Chicken Goujon next. You'll be fine in that. So I honestly look at the next 3 games. Away to them, then home to Benfica, home to Bilbao. You could very, very not easily is probably a disrespectful word, but you could quite conceivably win those games. Marseille away, Leverkusen away, you can win those. PSV at home. Paris Saint-Germain, I didn't even know your fixtures. Paris Saint-Germain last game is going to be an interesting one. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we all done the last time we were there.
Absolutely, no, you do. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed tonight's game. It's disappointing. I was happy Rashford scored, though. It's good for my club. That might get some money for him. Do you know what I mean?
Why can't Man United be good enough to keep their players, Terry? However, man, you know what I mean? You could have done us a favour by, not being so shit that Rashford had to leave to go to Barcelona.
In fairness, he was shit for us, to be fair. Like, I'm not going to rewrite history. I know you are. But there is part of me that felt pain in that moment. It was a bit like, imagine you date someone and they're just horrible to you. And then you find out they're dating someone else. You're like, oh, how does she treat you? Oh, she's an angel. What do you fucking mean? Yeah. Work with me. Yes, but Haaland 50 and 49 is compared to other players based on games, not time. They are about the same amount of goals now and back in the years. So No, I understand that he's the fastest guy to 50 goals, and I do get it. But time does play a part, Harold. And I'm taking nothing away from Haaland. You know, you've watched you're a super fan member. You're in the group chats. You super chat a lot. You know how much I praise this guy. But age plays a part. So let's just say we go back to. You look at someone like Eusebio as an example. Did he play in it every? I have to go look at him, but did he play in it every year, or was he spread over the course of time? How often were the players from the 60s, 70s, 80s in it? Were they winning their league every single year? Were they? You could be a certain player at 22, certain player at 25. You might be in it again when you're 27 and you're starting to age. I think being able to playing it every year when you're in your pomp, when you're in your peak, helps you with those goal scoring tallies and the teams that you're in. And that's why I do think we need to look at these eras. You also have to look at how many games are now played per tournament. So a certain generation, it was straight into knockouts. So you might find someone who's got, like Sabio, got a very good goals to game ratio in this, but there was only like 12 games a year. And that was like 2 legs knockout stages, where now you've got 8 league games that you play, potentially playoff games. So you could play up to 15, up to 16, 17 games, where before you might have found players were only getting 3, 4, 5, 6. So it was harder to kind of break those records. There's also the other factor in this. Again, there was a certain era in the Champions League where there was a very small amount of teams in it, and it was quite literally the very best teams in Europe harder to score goals against. Let us not pretend, Ronaldo included in this, that a lot of goals get scored against teams that we know aren't really anywhere near capable of winning the Champions League. There was eras where everybody in it could genuinely win it. So I do look at these things. It's like the international goal records. I think there's something we have to look at in them as well. Who and what were people scoring against? And we sometimes lose sight of that as we move into this new era. And I'm taking nothing away from Kane and Ronaldo, because I love them both internationally massively. But were the likes of Jimmy Greaves, were the likes of Eusebio, were they able to score goals against San Marino, Andorra? They weren't like they weren't able to do that in that way. Most of the teams they played were either good to between good and amazing nations that were harder to score goals against. And I just think it's important for us to not lose sight of that, because I think that context is very, very, very important indeed. But maybe that's just me protecting the origins of our beautiful game. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for coming on. I really appreciate it. I want to thank all of our viewers, all of our super chatters. This is going to redirect you to MHF, so go and support the boys over there on that show now. We're back tomorrow with more content, including Straight Facts with myself, Staffy, and Don at around 3:30 tomorrow. Plus, I'm on the United Stand tomorrow night as well at 8 p.m. So until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.